everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Molly and Emma and Spencer here. If you guys notice, we put where we're from because we always get questions about where we're from. So we do have a special guest today. We have Linda
Hi
from
guys.
London.
Hello.
Hi, Linda.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me at such short notice.
Oh yeah. You know what? We're gonna go ahead and share the screen. I'm gonna actually do that now. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. I'm always taking too long. How is everybody?
Good, apart from a bit too hot, but can't grumble.
You know, it's kind of warm here too, but yeah, I'm not gonna complain.
It's been hitting 30 degrees here, and I decided to do my roots and sit under a steamer in 30-degree heat. It wasn't good.
Wow. Oh, roasting.
I'm looking for a live, making sure that it shows up.
Okay.
Are you sharing the stream, Miss Molly?
Mm-hmm.
I only get the sharing the stream when I'm on my laptop versus my phone, which is like so annoying.
It keeps making us want to do a watch party, and I don't understand why it does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not touching anything. I'm just going to leave all technology to you guys.
I'm just going to share the actual link.
I think the face must say how terrified I look. I'm better on this than I am on this.
Oh well, I'm definitely not like a techie person myself. So
No.
if something go down, it just go down.
I was denied a lot of technology anyway, so I'm just getting myself used to it now.
I'm actually better at technology than I used to, so I can't really complain. I mean, I'm doing a lot better, but still it's my Achilles heel. Yeah. So guys, everybody, welcome to our live stream today. You probably know that we are talking about women, misogyny, feminism, and the Watchtower. A lot of people will ask, like, what does all of that have to do with each other? It has to do with everything, actually. Because if you were a woman in the Watchtower, you probably already know some of the things you might not know if you're a younger person, like some of the older quotes and stuff like that, which we have today, compliments of Molly, and a few other people who helped us out with the stream. And I want to give a shout out to John Palmer for the quotes and the audio. And John obviously is not a woman, but he had a lot to say about the misogyny and the misogyny that women endure in the Watchtower. And I'm still trying to share this stream, y'all. I hope you guys are not having as much trouble as I am right now. Yeah, you're right. Emma, it only wants you to start a watch party.
Oh.
That's interesting. All right, let's see here. They'll let me do it. It says it's been shared, so I guess we can go ahead and get started. Hopefully, some of the things that we have today gives you some idea of how the Watchtower actually views women. I mean, for one thing, I can say off the top of my head, we couldn't wear pants, which was like, why couldn't we wear pants? Like we had to wear skirts.
Yeah, I hated that.
Yeah, same here, especially in the winter in England.
Right. Or like in my congregation, if you didn't wear hosiery or like pantyhose or stockings, that was like a cardinal sin. Like,
yeah.
Like, and then of course when you're out in field service, that was like when it's hot.
Yeah.
Or freezing in the winter. I used to wear like leggings under my skirts, and like first people like, is she allowed to do that? Because leggings are technically trousers. I was like, but they're like tights as well, so I fought to actually wear leggings under my skirts.
I was going to say, what's the difference then? If you think about it, the OPEC tights that women wear today, they're quite thick. You can get up to 60 and beyond. So what's the difference between leggings and a pair of those?
Exactly.
And well, the thing is I guess there's not a real difference other than the people who are making the rules are men. They don't wear pantyhose.
Nope.
They have no idea what it's like to be forced to wear them or not wear pants. I mean, I went to churches after leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses, and there are very few churches that mandate that you have to wear pants. You can't wear pants.
Yeah.
to the.
Yeah, I've noticed that here. I've noticed a lot of people that have walked out at different times with church services and so forth, even in the local town. You don't see them dressed, booted and suited. They actually wear what they feel comfortable in.
Yeah. All right, so let's get started. So this is you want to get us started, Molly, on the presentation?
Wait, is this the first slide or
Is
No.
it?
or-
It's
No.
not. Oh, you know what? I was being nosy and looking at the other slides, so that could have been very much.
Oh.
I
Here
was
we go.
thrown off. I was thrown
this
off.
it?
I'm like, wait, this doesn't.
Yeah, that's the
Sorry,
start.
girl. So yeah, we gathered some quotes and some of the policies involving and affecting women in the Watchtower in this presentation, courtesy of JW Facts and UK JW Quotes, is it?
Yeah, I think so. Quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, but you actually put them at the end of the slide, so if people want to go out and check it out, they can.
So, and we will drop them in the comments too after we end the live stream. So,
Yeah.
hey Lester.
Hey, Lester.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey.
All right, so
yeah.
here we go.
So this has been circulating in the apostate circles recently. Watchtower claiming that more beautiful women are more conceited, so they make worse wives, because they are less submissive, which is well.
Well, you know what? I think this is I think I saw it in our women's group originally.
Yes, and I remember there was a conversation between you, I, and another like two ladies discussing how like we weren't allowed to look like you were allowed to look like decent and modest, nothing else. Like you weren't allowed to express any kind of personality and express like, you know, make yourself look better or make yourself look more flat, like, you know, wear clothes that are flattering to your shape, to your style, to your personality.
Unless you're an elder's wife or a CEO's wife or even higher. Yeah.
Ain't that right?
One thing I don't understand about this, as they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So for one person, what's beautiful is not for another. So how do they determine who's the beautiful woman and who's not?
Oh yeah,
And
that's kind of gross.
obviously, you're gonna find your wife beautiful, at least to a degree. Like, you know, you're not gonna be like, yes, my wife is a disgusting pig, hopefully. Like, obviously, you're gonna find
Yeah.
But
like obviously you're gonna find your partner attractive. So
true. But to say that's, I mean, number one, if you're a woman in the Watchtower, or a woman as a Jehovah's Witness, and you're looking for a mate, which seems like every woman that they simply are, to make it, you know, I found this quote interesting because of the fact that they think that women, besides our beauty, that we don't have anything else. They didn't talk about her qualities make her, even though being submissive is kind of, you know, we'll talk about that later about how we feel about that. But I mean,
don't like that word, loathe it.
Right. Her beauty gives her power over men. So, I mean, what does that even mean to have power over a man? That is their fear. You know?
I guess it's because it's for a standardly attractive, like, you know, long hair, curvy, whatever, you know, all that. So for a woman like that, I guess it's easier to seduce a man. Not like it doesn't take two to tango, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because that takes the blame off the men then.
Yeah.
Then if a man's seduced by a beautiful woman, it's the woman's fault.
That's right. Oh, it's that woman you gave me. Yeah.
Back to day one.
Right. Let's go to the next one. Now, headship arrangement. A lot of people will say, okay, well, this is a Christian thing. Like Christians get that from the Bible. How is that any different than what the Jehovah's Witnesses are doing?
Can I just say, if you're a fundamentalist, it's not really. Like, there are those and to
Well, that's what I was beginning to say. Like, I have visited many churches where women are allowed to be pastors. I visit churches that even they have archaic views of women not being able to pastor. They are still in leadership roles in some capacity. The church that I was at, I was able to run Bible studies. You would never be able to do that as a
No.
Jehovah's Witness within the hall. You know, there's no way they'll allow you to run a religious service or even. I remember, you know, a woman was told in the congregation that even though this man gave the wrong answer in the Watchtower, that she wasn't allowed to comment behind him to correct him. So he specifically had to choose another brother to correct the other brother. I thought that was wild. Go ahead, Molly. You was beginning to say.
yeah, so because, well, I guess anyone who watches this show knows that it's not a secret. I'm an atheist. So, first of all, screw that Bible mandated submission. But even more so, it's like that there are those not JW Christians, like the ladies of Girl Defined and Paul and Morgan, who are like selling this idea, like you need to be submissive, you need to render him his due, you need to da 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 da, and it's like, really, why? What did men do? What did men do to say that they are more than we are?
It takes a woman to bring a man into the world anyway.
It sure does. Sure does. But, you know, so I would say in terms of fundamentalist groups, when it comes to the Jehovah's Witnesses, they are more extreme. Because a woman, you can pretty much figure that you're going to be set down. You can't really talk. Even though it's kind of strange, we were able to talk to each other on the platform, but not talk to the audience. You know, like when we would give talks, we could give talks with each other.
Yeah.
But not really.
See, this is why I wouldn't have made a good JW wife, because I got as far as engaged and called it off, because I would not have been able to do the whole submissive stuff. To me, it would have been, no, we're equal. You don't own me. You don't tell me what to do.
Right.
So I don't think that would have gone down too well.
You had a close call. That's all I can say. I had almost 25 years of it, and that was enough for me.
Wow.
Well, I have to say that, you know, I'm currently I was married to a Jehovah's Witness. Now I'm married to an ex-Jehovah's Witness. And it has been a journey because a lot of maybe ex-Jehovah's Witness men don't realize that they carry over a lot of this.
They can do.
Yeah, from the Watchtower.
Yeah.
Views
Still there.
on women.
It still comes out. It's very obvious. Yeah.
It's like, I have to have the last say, or you have to, even if they don't require that you submit in some way, they, you know, it's a journey coming from feeling like, you know, you are special within the organization. Because men do get this label as being, not label, but you get the idea that the men are more special because they have more responsibility, so to speak. Within
I don't know about you guys, but do you think also that a lot of these in the organisation, the men in particular, look at a woman as a trophy figure, and if they've managed to get one off the shelf that was like myself, a regular pioneer, and was doing the right thing, even though I didn't come from a whole JW background, because my adopted father was not a JW, my adopted mother was. I did have moments where I was viewed as being somebody from a divided household, but because I'd been a regular pioneer, it kind of gave me that a bit of sort of like almost a status. Oh well, he's got his trophy, so she was a regular pioneer, so that must be okay. It was like it's a possession thing, very much so, used and abused all the way through. Yeah,
I was a regular pioneer, and I would have to say that it was a badge of honor. But it's almost as if the men expected you to, in order for you to be considered worthy to date or anything, like you had to be doing something else. You couldn't just be a woman. You had to be doing the most that you possibly can in the organization, including pioneering.
yeah.
I mean, if you don't have, what can a woman aspire to in the organization other than being a pioneer?
Not much.
No.
I'm thinking
Marrying
about,
a Bethelite or going to Gilead.
Well, that's
yeah.
yeah.
And even
That's what I
still, in
wanted to do.
Gilead,
Yeah.
when you would look at the pictures, it's very rare that they weren't married couples.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So even if you wanted to go to Gilead as a woman, you had a better chance if you were attached to a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
Man-made.
that was one of the things I got counseled for a lot. Surprise, I was always kind of a smartass. That did not fly well. In many situations, like I was counseled at like my very early teens, like 11, 12, something like that,
Oh.
years old. Like, why are you laughing so loud around boys? Like,
Oh.
we had friends around, and we would have these like garden parties, and we were just like having fun, as you do when someone says something funny, you laugh, and
right.
they will be like, "Why are you laughing so loud?"
Mm.
And I'm like, "Because what he said was hilarious."
Yeah. The natural reaction.
And it was like nothing because of the guy. It was just like genuinely what he said was like funny. So I'm like, yeah.
Do you know
I
what
see.
stuck out?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was going to say, I see where Molly's coming from because, again, referring to my ex, he would often do that in company. He would hush me down. He would keep me quiet. He would glare at me. Just that one look, I'd know automatically to shut up and not say anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what stuck out to me on this slide? The part where it says, "Oh, if I were a man, I'd do this, I'd do that."
Yeah.
And pushing to be something that she is not designed to be. Do you know what that borders on? That borders on homosexuality. And do you know what the devil is doing nowadays? He's taking women who want to be men and makes men out of them. How fucking ridiculous is that statement?
Yeah.
I bet Samuel Heard would think that I'm a man if he heard me speak because
Oh, Samuel Heard, the guy who's officially an apostate because he was baptized into another religion, and
Wait,
then
what?
he became a Jehovah's Witness. So he is actually officially an apostate by the dictionary definition. I just need you to put that in there.
Oh.
I thought something happened that I missed. I was like, what?
No. Because like everybody are always going on about apostate
Yeah.
lies and that, and he's officially a definition of an apostate because he came from a former religion. But yes,
Oh.
Well, most Jehovah's Witnesses, they go by the governing body's definition, but yeah, for sure. And when you tell them in groups, like, what is the definition of an apostate? They get all rattled.
but he's the only one I've found actual concrete evidence for that he came from another religion first.
Which is
Okay, but
interesting.
Out of the governing body, yeah.
but also funny story that the Greek word apostata meant runaway slave at first. And you know what? If that's what it means, I'm proud to be that because yeah.
Because we got away.
I love being an apostate. It's my new badge.
And I wear that label with pride.
Yes. Exactly.
Definitely.
Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that I don't have Bella bomb our stream here. Like clockwork.
Hi, Bella.
Oh, I wish she could hear you since she just want attention so bad. So these next two slides are women are described as less intelligent in some way. Like I thought this was really interesting when it comes to chess. Like personally I don't like chess, but it's not because I'm a woman that I don't like chess. It's just never was my thing. And then the other slide you have here, which is probably before we go to this next slide, we were talking about Samuel Heard. Why don't we actually play some of his words here? Let's see here if I can pull it up.
I'll try not to get my puke bucket out.
Here we go.
Scientists say that the cranial capacity of a woman is 10% smaller than that of man. So now this shows that she's just not equipped for the role of headship. The role role is one of subjection to the man. Her role is that of submissiveness, and that means that she should recognize that she is a woman and be glad to be a woman. You would recognize, if you truly love your husband, that you're not equipped mentally, emotionally, and physically or somatically for the role of competition. You would never pit your mind against it, not if you truly love your husband. Or you might recognize that you're quicker of mind than he is. Oftentimes this is the case. The boy marries girl. He finds out that girl is smarter than woman. Shortly after marriage, she finds out that she's smarter than woman. She'll work extremely hard, never to show that she's quicker in mind than her husband.
So much to say there. Who wants to start? Go ahead, Linda.
Wow.
Total bullshit.
Schubert.
No, I think that is just so derogatory. It's so demeaning. It's just, the whole thing is just repulsive.
Yeah.
It absolutely makes my skin crawl. I'm so glad that I'm away from it. That my mindset is getting further and further away from any of that crap, to be honest. And to think that I was quite happy to run along and to walk alongside it for so many years, almost 38 in my head. It absolutely repulses me now, even just to hear what's been mentioned there. You know, that you're not supposed to be in competition, you're not supposed to outwit, you're not supposed to be smarter than the guy that you've decided to go along with or marry and so forth. And it really is, it's derogatory, it's extremely vile, and it's abusive.
It is abusive.
Mm.
The idea that the woman should be happy that she's a woman.
Yeah.
I mean, after listening to that clip, what would you have to be happy about? Your brain is smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're smarter than the other guy, you got to not show it, like Linda was saying. I mean, like, what part of being happy to be a woman in the organization? I mean, how could you possibly be happy to be a woman?
Yeah.
I'm not being funny though, but what if you actually got with someone that was mentally not up to speed as you are?
Right.
Even then, are you still supposed to just act like you're dimmer than they are?
Yep, because you're told if you don't, that's it. You be quiet, you get a load of flack, you end up where you lose so-called friends that were never quite friends, you'll lose family members who are JWs because they'll look at you as one that's causing the trouble, that's just making their son or whoever look the idiot in front of other people. So you almost put on a pretense, you have to put on a show, but inside you're crumbling. All that worthiness about you is no longer there because it's taken from you very quickly on.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
go ahead, Molly.
I mean, my reaction is easily summed up in 2 words: hell no. But in all honesty, and I'm not trying to be an egotistical asshole, but I was more intelligent than the guys in my age in the congregation. I'm sorry, I just was. Okay, I was, and that's easily demonstrable by the fact that I achieved things that no kid in my age achieved in my town. I went and got like university level language examinations with adults at the age of 13, for crying out loud. So it's obvious that I was more there mentally and like intellectually and in my studies than the boys were. So
That's incredible, Molly. Hats off to you. Well done, and keep going.
like,
The
how
thing
would
is,
we even?
why would a man, by virtue of the fact that he's a man, be considered smarter? Like you're saying, Molly. I mean, you obviously have been more accomplished than some of the men in your town. And then to think that if you are more accomplished or you're smarter or you have just happen to be a little bit more
Intellectually sound.
Yeah, in some area, whereas a man, and no, we're not saying all men are dumb, so don't come away from this live talking about we think men dumb, y'all.
Yeah, disclaimer.
Disclaimer. But
We
at
are
the
not
same,
saying women are dumb.
right.
I'm just saying that there were like 5 boys younger than 20 in my congregation, and school-wise, I outshined all of them by our grades, by placing in competitions in languages and in literature. I demonstrated that indeed I am more intellectual than they are. So why would I need to?
And at the end of the day, that's not your fault. So why should
No.
you have to play that down?
And
Yeah, it's not.
why should women be penalised for it? Why should we always be penalised because we're so-called the so-called weaker vessel, which is another thing that I absolutely detest.
Right.
We have a rare
No.
we have a rare disorder called the XX chromosome, ladies. It's a very rare and dangerous disorder, you know. You
We
better
may
fix
be,
that.
we may be physically weaker than a lot of men, but we're not mentally weaker.
No.
Mm-hmm. Ain't that right?
And mentally can go a hell of a lot longer way than physically.
To that, can I mention that there's this guy, I don't remember his name, but he made a video. He dressed up as a woman. Like he's a smaller guy. So he passed as a woman quite well. And he dressed up as a woman on the street. And he crossed that same street, dressed as a woman, dressed in his regular clothes, and filmed it. The things were so different. Like, people were turning around to follow him when he was dressed as a woman. People were eyeing him up and down, like he was like some kind of prey animal when he was dressed as a woman. Like, it takes all the guts to be a woman. Let me tell you that. People on the street, I look like I'm 12, okay? I'm literally like this big. I'm not big. I definitely don't have the size of an average adult woman. I am like 140 centimeters tall. I'm a midget. I'm like very small, and I have this. I have full-grown adult men trying to follow me and trying to like yell after me and whistle at me. And you think it doesn't take resilience to be a woman? Get out of here.
Yeah.
And of course, it takes resilience to be a man too. So before anyone tries to that,
Come for you, right?
shut up. It's about women now.
Yeah.
Take a seat. Make your own video if you want to
Yeah.
talk about your men's rights and issues so bad, which are also important, but we're talking about women right now, so don't derail the conversation. Thank you.
Well said, Molly.
But you know, even though men may have a hard time when they're coming from the Watchtower to, out of the Watchtower, getting rid of some of those ideas of patriarchy and what a woman should and shouldn't be doing and that sort of thing. Even the women sometimes can have those ideas. I know, like with me, being married, I'm looking at myself through these slides and I can remember cringing. I'm cringing now at some of the things that I thought was being a good wife. It meant like being quiet sometimes, or because we were taught that, like, when we are giving our opinions, that we could give an opinion on how the house is ran, but not necessarily run the house. And even when they were talking to women about being submissive and that sort of thing, for me, I thought that meant that that my service to God was tied up into that. Like my salvation was dependent on whether or not I was as submissive to my wife. And then here's the thing about what about being a Jehovah's Witness woman in the organization is that you're not just submissive to your man. You got to be submissive to everybody's man.
Yeah.
Not just your husband. You got to be submissive to the elder, and then the brother who don't even have a position. If he tells you to go somewhere or do something where, as far as cleaning or out in service or something like that, you have to obey.
Yeah, you have to go and do those toilets because you're a woman.
Right. And I know for me it was hard to kind of come out of that because I remember when I first started a YouTube channel, a woman, ex-Jehovah Witness woman, telling me, well, I tend to gravitate towards, she said, certain channels because she felt that they were more credible because they were men and that they were elders before. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I woke up, I was, and I am like quoting myself because I remember, because I want to punch that person so bad who was thinking those things. But I remember whenever I saw, like, some girls were obviously into like more dark and more bright makeup that was popping like ours is today. Anyway, so
Right.
if I caught a girl in this kind of makeup on the street, I would be like, oh my god, why is she wearing that? And now I'm just here like, exactly. So anyway, point is that sometimes I would make these stupid snide comments about like, well, if she doesn't want to be regarded as a slut, she shouldn't dress like one, stuff like that. And then my best friend, who did not know that I came from the JWs, always corrected me and said, but why is she a slut? Because she shows skin and all that. And I was like, yeah, why is she actually? Really? Why? So it took an understanding gay guy to say, no, that's very misogynistic of you to say. And I was like, shit, really? And then obviously,
Well, think about the pictures that we had. I don't think we're going to get to it in this presentation, but think of the pictures of women that we had. Like the women in the Watchtower with the long skirts, the flower skirts and all of that. They were modest, okay?
Can I just say something? Little House
But-
on the Prairie, I call that.
Right, the Little House on the Prairie skirts. Those was
I can't
fine.
wear any flowery skirts since leaving. I just can't.
Me either. I don't know.
Sorry
Not
about
the
my
floral
top.
pattern.
This is just a top. It's not a dress. It's just a top.
Yeah, but then I used to wear like ankle length flowery skirts, and now it just
Yeah.
triggers me. I'm just like, no.
No. I see where you're coming from.
But
When
Babylon
I-
the Great, when they depicted Babylon the Great and depicted Jezebel, I thought her makeup was popping. Y'all go back and look at her
yeah.
picture.
Jezebel.
Oh yeah,
Yes, it
Jezebel.
I see that teal eyeshadow and blood, that lipstick.
She had this big blue, remember this blue eyeshadow and this bright
Yeah.
red lipstick.
I was like, that's popping, honey.
It was popping. I
Yeah.
thought
When
she was
I
pretty.
Our parents would be like, right, do us a play. Do us a mini drama out in my book of Bible stories. I'm like, let's do Jezebel. And then we'd fight over who was going to be Jezebel because we all wanted to be Jezebel.
I used to think, I wondered if anybody was going to actually name their child Jezebel because it's generally a thing to name all the
That'd be
biblical
I mean,
names. Yeah.
Oh well, anytime you had an objection or they felt like you were too ambitious, it was called having a Jezebel spirit.
Oh yeah, Jezebel
Yeah.
moment. You're having one of those moments again. Yeah.
Right. Like don't be a
Yeah.
Jezebel.
Well,
Right. So this is interesting. Wives required to be submissive. We're talking about that. And this whole idea of that, which people would say is biblical, but I would say that Jehovah's Witnesses take it a little step further when they say that we have to render husbands their due. Like
oh
literally,
my
if your
God.
husband cheat on you or do
Oh my
something on
God.
you,
Oh my
they'll go into the
Yeah.
scripture and say, well, were
Whoa.
you doing this?
Yeah, again, I'm going to have to refer to my past. My ex actually went and had an affair with a prostitute whilst we were in Bulgaria on holiday.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
he thought it was okay to go down and witness to this so-called woman in the hotel lobby, and he wanted then to introduce myself and our daughter, who was 2 at the time, whilst we were away on our so-called anniversary holiday. And then he decided to ring the branch in Bethel in the UK because he wanted for me to accept her to come and live with us, and that Bethel would help us out with different things. And the guy on the phone at Bethel said, but you're married with a child, so I can't see this working. And then a few months later, I managed to find out that he'd been sending money on to her as well in Bulgaria.
Wow.
And that was only one of his affairs. But
No
again,
way.
the fact that he's a son, at the time he was the son of an elder who still is presiding as an elder, he didn't even get a slap on the wrist, and I was told to keep quiet and never to ever speak about or mention it. Yeah.
Wow,
No
Linda,
way.
I'm so
sorry
sorry.
that happened to you.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a horrible experience, but it's kind of taught me to realise that you just can't put your complete trust into something or somebody that you thought was there, going to be there for you and look out for you. I mean, that's only one of my stories that I've experienced in that lifetime, but I'm just so glad that I'm away from it. And at the end of the day, you know, he didn't get his way. She never came to England, but it was still damaging because that was supposed to be a 10th wedding anniversary with our 2-year-old daughter at the time. So I'll never ever forget for doing that. Yeah.
I'm proud of you for making it out.
Yes, because there had been something. I mean, and I think we're going to talk about it later about domestic situations like abuse and that kind of emotional abuse and stuff like that. But that cannot have been easy for them to tell you to shut up and be quiet about it. And this man is literally out here with prostitutes.
Yeah, because he didn't even like field service in the UK. So for him to turn around and say, "Oh yeah, I was talking to her about the paradise, and because you'd already been from an abusive past, I was going to introduce you so that you could help her get back onto the straight and narrow. And it was her pimp that was after her, and we needed to really help her out because she so needed for the support." I looked at him and I said, "Ugh, honestly, you've no idea. How dare you use my past against me to try and think you can win me over and then introduce a strange situation into what was supposed to be our family unit along with our 2-year-old daughter." I said, that is just so sickening. That is just the lowest of low that you could have done to me. But there's plenty of other things out there that I found out about him through the laptop and everything that was ongoing. Yeah.
Now, Lydia says she liked Jezebel's makeup too.
Yes,
her makeup was popping, even though too much makeup, I guess apparently, can be considered, I don't know, bad or whatever. And you know what? I think that, you know, some ex-Jehovah's Witness men, again, I'm not picking on them, but when they come from the Jehovah's Witness organization, they still hold these ideas of what a woman should be look like. You know, we didn't got people getting mad at us over cursing or I guess women shouldn't curse. I don't know. Getting mad over. Yeah, well, they're gonna be mad anyway.
I got repeated counselling for my makeup because the last 2 years I was in, I was quite goth, so I'd go to the Kingdom Hall looking like a cross between a Shakespeare sister and Marilyn Manson. So I got a lot of counselling for my worldly makeup, and I found out though that most of it was from the elders' wives complaining to the elders.
That's because they're spiteful and all they want for is to put the younger ones down, and they don't care who they shame or hurt along the way. Because hey ho, at the end of the day, they're kind of held in positions as well because they've got to run alongside. They've got to be the lapdogs to them as well.
But I've had JW women in the groups. JW groups say to me, "Look at your makeup. You can tell you're from Satan." I'm like,
oh my.
So eyeshadow means I'm from Satan, right? Okay, that's logic. Honestly, I've had it so often, or I'm a prostitute, or I'm a druggie because I like to have colourful makeup. It's like.
It's more about them than it does you, to be honest. Yeah. They're very insecure about themselves.
So I don't know if the audience can see this, but here we go with another Jehovah's Witness anecdote, which, you know, like I told y'all, I don't believe half of the stuff that's being in the yearbooks. I think they make it up. But I do think here is this woman is saying, before studying the Bible, I didn't think my husband should have been the lead head of the family. I like to make decisions on my own, as if that's a bad thing. And then she said, however, I gradually found that applying Bible principles, y'all like my voice, this is my Karen voice, contributes to the peace and happiness of our family. Slowly, it became easier for me to submit to my husband, and my husband has noticed changes in me.
You sound like a JW broadcast.
Which is another thing. Why can't a woman be on the JW broadcast? Samuel Hurd and all them.
Yeah. Wow.
Is that only reserved for governing body and men?
Mm-hmm. I never thought about that. Yeah. Why don't they do the women's talks on there?
Yeah, because I guess we're not that important, huh?
I mean, what's crazy is something similar happened in my JW family, like what happened to you, Linda, is That was my JW mom, and she was pregnant, and obviously the husband was abusive, and I don't remember if he beat her or raped her to the point of a miscarriage.
Oh.
And she went to the elders. They said not much we can do. And then a few weeks later, she went to the elders again with a prostitute's phone number. Like it was something like Red Whore something.
Oh.
So it was obvious that it's a prostitute. And she found it in the clothes, like in the hamper, as she was doing the laundry. So anyway, she went back with that to the elders, and then he was demoted from being an elder to just being a brother, and placed in another congregation instead of like any actual repercussions.
Well, the Watchtower's views on rape, we already know. I think we've covered this before. Yeah. It's just disgusting anyway.
It is.
But in view of a woman, you have a few of their quotes here. I believe these is compliments of JW Facts.
This one is, yeah.
Right. If a woman doesn't scream, basically she wasn't raped.
That's right.
See, I was thinking about this earlier, right? They say if you don't scream, you're consenting. So what if your rapist tells you, scream, I will kill you?
Yeah. And what if they're threatening you?
To risk death. Yeah. What if they did kill you? You've just literally technically committed suicide.
Yeah.
Which is also against the religious beliefs. So to me, it's contradictory. What are you supposed to do?
That's right, Em.
It doesn't make sense. And if you don't scream, you're committing adultery or fornication.
Yeah.
Right.
And the whole idea of Watchtower about women is so weird. Like, and I'm saying this as someone who realized that I'm asexual after leaving. And you would think, oh, I had a golden life in the Watchtower. Hell no! Like, when you're in the Watchtower and, you know, you ladies can definitely relate to that, I guess. But the thing is that when you're in the Watchtower, you're expected to be like a virgin married to anyone else and like a little sex slave to your husband, basically. And it's so weird in their mind. They are obsessed with sex. Like, they preach purity, but they are so obsessed with what kind of sex you're having and what kind of sex you can be having, and that you should have sex if you're married, like, you know, render him his due and all that. And it caused me so much panic about like interacting with any like men, because I was like so uncomfortable with that kind of attention. Even as a young girl, you feel it, you know.
Yeah.
If you
you're losing your identity, aren't you, Molly? You're losing your identity as a result of what is being spewed out
and
from the platform.
To the point when I actually was like, I want to marry a Bethelite and have kids and all that. To that point, I was brainwashed. When I'm asexual and I'm actually like repulsed by the idea of someone flirting with me or someone trying to give me like sexual attention, I'm like, no.
In some of the victim stories that I've been asked to put out there, the rape victims have been disfellowshipped because they were raped.
Right.
Yeah.
And the rapist has repented and stopped in the congregation. It's like, how the hell is that justice?
Because apparently it's just a sin. It isn't a crime, which is wrong. Because any form of abuse toward anybody sexually is a crime.
But to disfellowship the victim, not only are they going through the fact that they were raped, that trauma, then they've got to go through that trauma alone.
It's because they don't want to show face. They don't want to be held responsible. They don't like the idea that it's coming out. I mean, from my own point of view, with my own childhood abuse, my sexual abuse that started from the age of 6 onward, my perpetrator was never brought to justice, and my adopted mother, to the day I, have been back in contact with her quite recently, she will never hold her hands up and admit that there was any wrong of any form of shape or doing within the family. And then another thing to think that you then marry thinking that it's not going to be as you thought it would be. And then to have had 2 children, people often say to me, how have you managed to have children despite going what went through? And I've said, because there comes a point where you have to try and block some of it out, but it's ongoing. It's a life sentence. All victims live a life sentence. I don't care what anybody says. Anybody that goes behind bars, if they're actually found guilty or if they actually get any form of punishment, the victim always ends up being the person that's actually living the life sentence. You live it, you breathe it, and you eat it, and you wake up to it. But from my point of view, my ex was also very good at making me feel really guilty about my past. He would play it against me to the point where I've had both my children by cesarean section. He felt it necessary for me to give him his due. So I then ended up where even before the six weeks was up after you've actually had a child, he forced himself upon me. And then when I fled in 2018, I've then recently been told by my new GP that it was actually rape. And I don't like that word for that pure reason.
Marital rape happens. I mean, think about what we're instilled from at a young age. Like when in the My Book of Bible Stories, Dinah was almost like a hoe.
Yeah.
Okay. Like they really literally blamed Dinah.
Victim.
Yeah.
Was like it was her fault that she got raped because she went over somebody's house, her friend's house. And we were told, and basically, you know, it was bad association, and she shouldn't have went over there in the first place. And had she not went over there,
they wouldn't have caused the troubles in the family. That's right. Yeah.
Right. Shechem would have not raped her, and so they victim blame. We've taught from a very young age, because that's in a Bible story book.
You don't want to be like the likes of Dinah. Yeah.
Yeah. To not go.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mom. We were taught that it's like, oh, well, she was raped because she was around non-JW men.
Yeah,
that's what you get. Was literally what my elder brother, father, and my JW mom said. Like, that's what you get for being.
But then behind closed doors, within the organisation, within the cult, look what's happening. What's happening to these youngsters? These that are marrying at age 18, 19 onward, they're still babies in their own minds. They haven't got the capability of understanding what they've let themselves in for, and then all of a sudden they're up against somebody who is actually not as they claim to be.
Yeah.
I really like the way you said this presentation is set up, because people might think that us calling the Watchtower rape apologists is a little going too far. But anytime you're victim shaming and blaming the person who was raped, and to say, like Emma was mentioning earlier about the screaming thing, or that you have to scream or something during rape. If anybody has ever been in that position, sometimes screaming is the last thing is on your mind. You just want it over.
Your body freezes.
Yeah.
It's a natural reaction.
I have been with an abusive partner, and guess what? I exactly screamed 0 times. I froze. That's what your body does. It's rare because you either have fight, freeze, or flight, and it's rare that you don't freeze in a situation. As much as a smart, strong, whatever woman you claim to be, it's not gonna happen when you're faced with a situation. You know what happened? At one time, I finally sucker punched and kicked my abuser, and then I grabbed sex toys he was hoarding to cheat on me with I guess some other girl, because I found women's underwear that was definitely not mine in the drawer. I went and tossed it on the dinner table in front of his family and said, "This is all the abuse he has been doing other than cheating on me.
Wow.
Fuck all you, I'm out." And that I was obviously not a JW back then, because no brainwashed JW woman would do that. But I'm still like, you need to understand, screaming is not the requisite of you being raped, and if you have been assaulted, or someone forced themselves upon you and you didn't scream and you didn't kick, you didn't bite, whatever, you have still been a victim and of assault, and you still have had your consent and your boundaries violated, and you deserve to be taken seriously, regardless of your gender.
Yeah, definitely.
Spence, if you just go back that slide, I was going to point out the fact that it said, like, that if a man overpowered a woman, then he should be stoned, but she should not be touched. Nothing should happen to her. So then why have women who have been victims of rape been disfellowshipped? Because that scripture clearly says that you must do nothing to the girl.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said earlier when we were chatting, like, JW so cherry-picked the Bible because it says that the rapist should be taken out and stoned, but they don't live by that now, but they live by the two witness rule.
Oh.
So why are they picking parts of a crime, the punishment they pick parts of, and then just dismiss others?
Yeah,
Because it's for more convenience, because they realise the repercussions that would happen and the responsibilities that lay upon them. And if they came to that mindset, and if they decided to actually do something correctly and actually view it as a crime, then the Watchtower would be in a huge amount of trouble.
Yeah. Right. But also it's weird because I might not be remembering well because I interact a lot with Christian apologists, but basically they say because Jesus saved us, so the Old Testament doesn't apply anymore. But then you use the Leviticus passage to hate on gay people, and then you use to witness something and Dinah's story to hurt and discredit rape victims. But then you're wearing your mixed fabrics, eating your seafood, and the rest of it. So did Jesus' sacrifice change the rules? In which case you wouldn't need the Old Testament, or are you just lying?
Well, I can attest that both, like you said, Christian apologists, Jehovah's Witness apologists, just Christian apologists in general, they cherry pick what they want, whatever it is that they want to. Like here, it's saying that under the Mosaic law that she became the property of the rapist if the virgin was unengaged and she was raped. Now, somebody might find that just abhorrent right now, but if you're a person that follows the Bible, a person that knows anything about Jehovah's Witnesses and their attitudes on rape and molestation, you can see how this kind of permeates in their attitude, in their permissiveness towards it in their organization. I don't understand. Like here is saying that the virgin was supposed to scream to alert those around. Usually rapists don't rape you in front of other people.
No.
I was talking to a JW in a group, I think we spoke about it before, and he actually turned around to me and said, how can you say which is the gravest sin about rape? And he compared it to a child stealing margarine out of a refrigerator. Child sex abuse. And then he says to me, how can you tell me that rape is the gravest sin? Then stealing. I'm like, are you actually serious? It was.
They don't take it serious.
Deluded.
But to that effect, goddamn, I had a thought. But to that effect, it's like, first of all, if you're tiny like me, I guess it's easy to guess where I'm going. It's very easy to just grab you, kidnap you, take you somewhere, rape you, then dump you again somewhere, maybe where you got picked up, and so in that regard, first of all, you can gag someone. That's a thing that many rapists actually do, because obviously you don't want your victim to scream and make you mad. Like, you You want to get away with it. And that's the point with abuse as well. You want to get away with it because you know it's illegal, and you know that you could go to prison, not necessarily because you know what you're doing is immoral and abhorrent, but because you know that if you're caught, you could serve a lot of time in prison and you would be labeled forever.
Yeah.
So yeah,
This is
you will get your victim and all that. So
right. No, go ahead, Molly. Was you saying something?
so I just don't see that logic, and especially as a very small woman, like I said, your average garden gnome is bigger than me, okay? Like that's one of my big fears. That's why I don't like crowds.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I can see where you're coming from, Molly. I feel vulnerable. I do feel vulnerable
I'm like
still.
Big. I'm like this big. I'm literally a garden gnome. Anyone could fucking grab me. Anyone who's over 40 kilograms, which is like all adults, can grab me and do whatever they want. As big as my mouth is, I know I could probably not stand in a fight. But that's again a personal issue. But I just want to say, you can't and won't always scream. You can be gagged. Many things can happen.
Yeah. So your vulnerabilities take over in that particular moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, this next slide is basically saying that women can't do construction work and that they should do the lighter tasks of preparing food for the workers. Us feeble women can't do anything, can we? I remember going to a quick build and I was on like the brick line, and I preferred doing that than taking fucking food round to the brothers who were working. I wanted to get in there, get dirty, had my yellow hard hat helmet, and I wanted to get in there and be part of actually building the Kingdom Hall.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was only allowed to be on the brick line, just passing bricks, and that was it because I was the girl.
And they're saying that if brothers are not available, just go ahead and hire out, which you know that the witnesses never really do.
No.
So they would rather you hire somebody than a woman lay carpet or do anything.
There's no women that are plumbers, electricians, or carpenters, is there?
Right. You know, my husband works in the electrical trade, and he sees women all the time. I mean, it's not as many, but they're there.
Mm.
So to say that
It's
they
so
can do the same work.
I was going to say, I can wire a plug.
Nice.
Oh, good for you.
I was a girl guide.
Good for you.
But it's almost like when women are given the opportunity, they can have different jobs. Shocking! Oh my god! Next day we will learn that women are actually able to hold conversations and make decisions and stuff.
Well, you saw the last
You know what,
slide.
Molly?
It wasn't until she found Jehovah Witnesses or whatever that she felt like, this her husband that she could no longer make decisions anymore. That's got to be crazy for a woman coming into the Jehovah Witness organization. If you're used to being independent, taking care of yourself, and then all of a sudden it's not only a step down, but it's demeaning.
It's
to feel
undermining.
Right.
To feel like you have to demean yourself in any kind of way or shortchange yourself in any way just to make a man feel better. And in this case, people will say, well, why would you expect the governing body to be diverse? Why not? I almost think that, I would like to think that if women were in, positions where they could make decisions in the organization, that probably they wouldn't have as a rampant problem of child abuse. I would like to think. But sometimes you'll find that in the groups that the Jehovah Witness women are the ones defending their policies more than anybody.
Yeah.
You know, I was just thinking,
thinking,
going back to the 10%, apparently, I don't know whether that's statistical.
Yeah, where is that?
Right, if we've got 10% less brain than men, I think that looks bad on them. Because that shows that we can function quite adequately with 10% less brain than males. So I think that says something about the male brain, not the female brain.
And where
They're
did he get
also
that
able
quote, that quote from anyway? Did he just pull that out of his ass?
I don't know. I've never
Yeah.
looked up. Is it true? Like, or did he just pull that out his ass?
They're also
But
able
also-
to multitask, so we've got that skill about us.
Yeah.
When you think about when they ask for participation in quick bills, the first thing they would say is, who's going to make the food? And it was always
Yeah.
the women's, responsibility, or implied that it was their responsibility to feed these grown men who can't pack a lunch.
Oh, don't even start me on that one.
Okay. Very controversial opinion that I would like to bring to the glass table. If you have a man in your life, be that your father, husband, brother, whatever, who cannot wash his own laundry, pay his own bills, and cook his own fucking lunch, that's not a man, that's a child.
A man-child.
Try me.
Right.
I was with one. Believe you me, it was like having 3 children and not 2 children.
Right. I
Right.
mean, my
Because his
elder
mother did
brother,
everything from him. My ex-mother-in-law did everything leading up to me marrying him. So as a result of it, I then fulfilled what she then,
crazy.
expected me to continue in. But the guy I'm with now, who I'm very happily settled with, he was a former chef. He's very domesticated, and I'm very proud to be alongside him.
Right.
See, most of them can do it, they just don't want
Yeah.
to do it.
Or they
He
don't
didn't-
feel like
Somebody
they
else
want
to
to
do
do
it
it.
for them.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, what's crazy is I remember this day is burnt into my brain. This 40-year-old man
Oh
was
no.
standing there and asking his wife to make a sandwich. Hang on, the story doesn't end here. Make a sandwich. And then his wife makes a sandwich within like the next 10 minutes. She brings it in. He loses his ever-loving shit because the crust wasn't cut off or some shit like that.
Oh god.
He opens
Yeah.
the back door to the yard and he smashes the plates to the ground and then does like clean it up.
Sounds
Like-
like my ex.
Like, you know what? No,
You
you
clean
go
it
and starve to death. If you cannot even be bothered to make a goddamn sandwich, and
Yeah.
never mind the fact that he was so fucking useless that he was the only one in the family who wasn't allergic to grass, and he still expected his allergic daughters and his allergic wife to cut the fucking grass.
Oh.
If any of and oh wait, no, never mind, because our brain is bigger and I actually speak like 3 languages unlike he does, so he wouldn't understand. But fuck you.
Yeah. I can go one on from that. My ex-husband was very good at burning boiled eggs.
Of course.
You know what? I have to say though, if you are like me as a woman, I don't mind cooking for my man. I really honestly don't. But don't. I would mind it if you felt like I had to do it or this was what I was supposed to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I know I have to say that my father, he was a Jehovah's Witness. I grew up in a house full of Jehovah's Witnesses, and my father, he shared responsibilities. Like he did laundry, he did cooking, he did all of that. But I just think my mama was the type of woman that just was not gonna have that. Like I know we went to the Watchtower and they said X, Y, and Z, but when we in this house, we do something, and that's very rare because I've been in homes where, it seemed like the women were almost absolutely afraid of their husband.
Yeah.
Like to move. I remember this one sister I used to go out and field service with. She used to have to call in to check in with him all the time. Well, she was out in field service. People actually thought she was in a situation where she was being abused physically because of this fear that he was an elder. And then at one point he didn't want her pioneering, so he had her. She couldn't pioneer anymore. That's another thing. If your husband,
She couldn't even get out of the house. She was imprisoned in those four walls.
If you're a woman and you're in the Jehovah's Witness organization and your husband basically has to almost approve your application if you a wife, because if your husband does not want you pioneering, you're not going to pioneer.
No, mine stopped me. As soon as we got married, he turned around and said, "That's it. You can't even auxiliary. You're my wife now, and you do as I say."
Wow.
He put me where he wanted to put me.
Tell us about this slide, Molly. This actually, obedience is in like bolded. I'm already fuming.
Yeah. So the main thing is to be dressed neatly, becoming, and as a Christian to be spiritually well clothed with love, humility, obedience, and faithfulness. How about a big fat fuck you and a big fat hell no? No. Like, why is it that men can go around half naked
Oh God.
in like fucking swimwear on the
Right.
fucking street and no one bats an eye, and then women
Yeah.
go out in a shorter skirt and they are called sluts for it? Like, you know what? Make it make sense. If men can expose their chest, so can I.
Yes.
Well,
Hmm.
It's just fat, honey. Okay.
right.
Like, do you want to see some? Because I have some in my fridge. I have pig fat in my fridge. That's what's inside boobs. Okay, it's fat.
The thing is, at the end of the day, when you've had children, your own body is never quite the same again, and you have to accept that it's never going to be quite the same again. But also, by the way that they're speaking in that particular paragraph, they're actually demeaning women again, because they're not giving the women the rightful say in how they want to dress and
Exactly.
be themselves. It's very commonplace for those that have had children to be felt or to feel as if they're second class anyhow, but also you lose your identity. When you become a parent, you're no
Yeah.
longer the wife of, you're there the mother of, and then, you know, you have to dress to conform because you've become a mother. And if you go the opposite and want to dress as you used to, you're frowned upon. Then the elder and then the older sisters will then come tactfully along, and they will then start quizzing you and dressing you down and telling you this is not the way to be showing your children the way to be behaving. So then you
Right.
start to double think, oh, hang on, wait a minute, maybe I'm going to also affect my children with my attitude and my behavior, so now I have to step up even further. So again, it's pulling you apart in all directions. It's very wrong.
So before we
Yeah.
go to the comments, I want to say that if you guys want to look at some of these quotes, these were taken directly from JW Facts and and quotes. It says quotes Watchtower. It's a UK site. But before we go, I wanted to say that a lot of the ideas about women and the articles that you've seen today come from this one man. His name was Rutherford. And I have a clip, compliments of John Palmer, of an old talk of him. Well, let's just listen to it.
Ask yourself now, why should a man at this time vigorous and strong and who has a prospective hope of being of the great multitude tie himself up now to a stack of bones and a hank of hair and expect to stay there forever?
So I don't know if you guys could hear it well, and I could put the link in below. But he compared. I mean, again, this is this whole idea that women are body parts. You know, a hank of hair and a bag of bones. I'm thinking like,
Yeah.
okay, you got your nerve to be talking about somebody a hank of hair and a bag of bones. Look at Rutherford. Does Rutherford look like somebody you would be trying to get with? No.
Wasn't exactly an oil painting, was he?
Himself, right? But the fact that when they talk about women, as you have seen throughout the broadcast, it's not really in a good light.
No.
It's not in a
Right.
good light. A lot
Real
of us
good try.
have to think about when we leave. Like you were saying, that when you lose your identity as a mother, when you become a mother, you lose your identity when you become a wife, because you're no longer just. I know for me, Sister Tyler or Sister Spencer, you become Brother so and so's wife, or even. I know we didn't cover this, the fact that you have to wear head coverings. Now, that is not something that you would see in mainstream Christianity. That is a very Jehovah Witness thing. That if there is not a qualified brother around to pray or conduct a religious service, if the woman has to do it to acknowledge the brother's not being there because he's not there, you have to wear a head covering.
Yeah. What's all that shit
Right.
about?
Which, that's not something, you might see that, and I've seen it in like a Kojic church, and I've seen Maybe Muslim women wear head coverings and stuff like that. But if you're not familiar with the Jehovah's Witnesses, number one, women are not really in places where they use head coverings a lot. But it's usually in their home. I remember my mom throwing on a head covering. I've thrown on a head covering before, just so a man can speak, so you can speak in front of a man. And I was teaching my own children, and then it's like women. And if you listen to that clip, it wasn't just so much of what he said. He had an audience of people. They're all laughing like it's funny.
But it's awkward when a bag of herringbones is smarter than you. And yes, I said it.
Go, Molly.
All right, Molly. So we want to. This is the next few screenshots is just some stuff that we have endured since we have decided we wanted to come together and talk on the glass table live. A lot of people feel that just because we happen to be women, that this broadcast is either for women only, or that it's made that we only have women guests. And I think we got a lot of that towards the beginning where people felt like, oh, okay, well, this is just a woman thing. And I just would like to say, that there are many types of round tables, and I'll just keep it that way. There's many types of round tables, and I have never heard anybody complain or say, oh, just men doing a round table. Never. It's never the assumption that only when you see all men doing something that somehow women are excluded. Just when it's all women doing something, I guess that means that men are excluded. And I like to say that we've had men on our live streams.
Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen them in the past. I've watched them. Yep.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know about this comment. I'll put my go through some of these real quick.
Yeah, sure. So that is from Twitter, obviously. And a woman, no less, says, I'm shocked you gave them bitches the light of day in the past, but I'm so glad you got a thick skin. I'll continue to support you. Your contribution is tremendous to the community. Thank you for your hard work. And then someone replies, why don't you tag these bitches covered since when are CSA victims and activist bitches? Toxicity follows this man's fan base wherever he goes. So this is one of the things that it's like, this is in relation to a woman speaking up about how her abuse story was twisted, mishandled, and her case against her abuser was mishandled. And you're calling her all kinds of bitches? Well, and we lost Spence. No.
Oh
Oh no.
where's she gone? On that fence. Oh. Where is she?
Oh, her internet went down. God damn.
Oh, right.
Anyway, in the meanwhile, just to say, first of all, we don't exclude men. Yes, we had men on the show, and we plan to have.
Great when we have guys on.
But why do we need to? Like, I'm not trying to be a bitch, and I'm not trying to be an asshole, but men had that opportunity even in the organization to speak up and be taken seriously. Women did not. So quite naturally, I would prefer to give voice to women who have been abused, who have been mistreated, who have been dehumanized by this organization, because many of us never find the courage to speak out like we do.
Yeah.
So
we've been denied the voice for so long, so why should we continue in that
exactly.
mindset? It's not right.
Exactly. And I'm not saying that abuse against men is not just as serious as against women. It is. It's very serious, and it needs to be taken more seriously. And I acknowledge that judicial systems, like the courtroom, usually favors women. What are you doing? Even when the woman is the perpetrator of the abuse and not the man. And in custody hearings, even if the father is a better parent, the mother still has a much higher chance at getting full custody of the kids. So yeah,
And
That's
when we
totally-
came together, we just happened to be a panel of women that spoke and said, let's do this.
Yeah.
We didn't go out of our way to be like, let's just be a
Yeah.
panel of women.
One
It's
day-
just the way it worked out.
I think
Yeah,
it's
one day
amazing.
we
It's
were
awesome.
told that we
It's
went
given us a
live.
voice.
I'm back.
Hello. Oh,
The joys of live streaming, I guess. I didn't get to hear what y'all was talking about because it kicked me off.
wow. Oh, we had
Okay,
missed
did-
you for a minute or two.
Aww.
We're talking
I
about
missed all of
when
you.
we made the glass table, it wasn't intentionally that it was just going to be women. It just happened that we chatted and we was like, let's do this. And it just happened that we were women, not just to be a panel of women.
Right.
Yeah,
We
it's
can
not
actually
like
do something productive and that's going to help create a better atmosphere amongst women who feel that they need the support and the guidance.
Sure.
It's a step forward. It's a way into it, because not
We
every
sure
woman who has been subjected to this kind of behaviour wants to be sat alongside, another male
It's
for
true.
whichever reason. So you've got to think from sensitivity point of view. It's important that
Yeah.
every need is catered for.
And why do men have such a big fucking issue with relating to women? I'm sorry, but when I watch like one of my favorite movies, Iron Man, guess what? The main character is a man. Do I find an issue with it? No.
No.
I actually cried when he died in the movies. I was
No.
like, no. That was one of the first movies that I watched as a JW because we weren't allowed. So anyway, point is, I am. Yeah, sorry, friends. Can we go back to the YouTube comments we missed?
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, hang on one second.
Yeah,
Ooh.
and here we can see.
Now,
YouTube
I just
comments.
before we go into the comments, I would like to say these are from ex Jehovah Witnesses. These are not Jehovah Witnesses in these screenshots.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
that's
Molly.
that's just vile.
Yeah, and so this is on our last live stream where we were talking about our experiences with child sex abuse and all that. So this man says awful women, and I replied, sure. I said, sure, you have a big dick with no face, no content, no credentials of your own. Bye. And then he says, nasty little bitch, Molly. And I said, well, yes, and? Yes, and at least I am a nasty little bitch with my face. You can talk to me. And anyway.
It's funny how we get regular trolls on YouTube, but like none of them post as themselves. It's always as like troll accounts with no content, and it's just like, look, stop being a fucking coward. If you've got something to fucking say to us, say it as yourself. Don't make yourself 8 troll accounts. Come on and have a conversation with yourself. Make a note that you all agree with yourself, and then just say shit to us. Because at the end of the day, I don't understand why people do this though, because what is it supposed to achieve? You don't like our content, that's fair enough. Don't watch us. What's the point in trying to come on our videos and call shit? Like, you're just wasting your time. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, like why? If we are so awful, then why do you take time out of your day to comment on our videos time and time again?
That's right.
And we know it's the same man by the writing style. It's the same man with different accounts. So, I have a marvelous idea for you. If you think that I'm a nasty little bitch and if you wanna come at me, come at me, bro. Step out, motherfucker. We're right here. We're not hiding.
That's right. They're just not in their comfort zone when they realise they're up against women who have got an actual backbone in their body.
Mm-hmm.
But it's even worse the fact that they say it on a video that we was doing about child sex abuse and the Australian Royal Commission. So to come in and say shit on those kind of videos, it just shows what kind of person they are.
They're in denial. The fact that they're ex-JWs, they're in denial. They haven't even got an ounce of respect or knowledge about what these crimes actually do to individuals and how they are lifelong crimes that they live with.
Right.
Life sentences. Every victim that's been a victim toward this crime, or we should say, has had to live it throughout their lives. It's not something that goes away overnight. You don't just forget it. It lives with you. So for them to show disrespect even further in this regard is just showing, how they themselves have still got, a long way to go to actually understand or even want to actually come on board with what an individual or, countless numbers of victims have actually had to go through. It's not an easy thing to do, to be courageous and speak out against the Watchtower, because there's very often there's repercussions. Some of them are greater than others, but we all feel it and we all think it. And it's just these individuals, they just need to get on board and actually take a look in the mirror and realise what they're doing is more detrimental than good.
Right, and why? Hey, and I don't understand why they feel the need to use women's stories and try to profit from them without consent, and then call them bitches, call them these nasty names, try to discredit women when they have all the evidence. And I usually try to be more respectful than I was in those comments, but at that I was like, okay, you know what, mate, if you don't come out, say what you want to say. Like if
we reacted that way because we think this is the one same person that's repeatedly doing it. So we've kind of lost our patience with this person now. So we just kind of basically
yeah,
it's getting boring now.
Yeah,
and it's just like I'm not in the Kingdom Hall. I'm not in the Kingdom Hall anymore. I don't need to be submissive to you or listen to you. I don't want to. I really.
The
thing is, what is their aim? What are they hoping to get or gain from it? They're not. They're getting nothing from it.
Why? And we also get people complain, because we swear. What else did they say? Oh, the way you girls talk to each other is disgusting.
That's my new vocabulary.
Wow,
I love it. It's colourful.
Because we say fuck every now and again. Wow. Yeah. Women aren't allowed to swear.
Oh, you should hear it in the high street where you live.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's just we're not JWs anymore. If you want fucking swear, we'll fucking swear.
Yeah. We don't have to sit prim and proper with our legs crossed anymore, for example. That's probably what they're expecting for. Yeah.
And it doesn't make us less intelligent, as some people
actually studies psychological studies shown that those who curse have more empathy and more honesty.
Yeah, because you say it as an expression, as an emphasis thing. So it's like you're putting emphasis on those words by using words.
Obviously there are situations when you shouldn't, but
I think Satan is trying to keep our stream going. I'm just joking.
Talking about cursing.
Every time I hit share screen, it's like it's just not doing it. I don't know what's going on. So you know what? We have 6 minutes left in our stream. What we can do? Let me see. Let me go through some of these comments here. I just want to acknowledge the people who came on to it with us today. Hi, Mia Maria. I think you're new.
Hi.
And Alexis, he says the misogyny sticks around for sure. It sure does.
Yeah. Sure does.
I don't know what context that you said this in, but I agree.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Ben Guerrero tells us to stop woman-splaining. I hope that's a joke. Are we woman-splaining on our channel today?
Just Draven.
And if it's genuine, fuck you. I'm sorry. I don't care.
Ben's from my grave. He likes to cause a bit of drama.
Okay, then.
Draven says hair and bones. I guess that's a reference to the Rutherford clip we had.
Yeah, it makes me miss Dexter.
Dexter is on Netflix. They was just advertising the other day. I'm gonna have to just.
They need to bring it back.
They
They
do.
left it so they could, so they definitely should.
And Susan
Yay.
says that it's just a toxic attempt at controlling women, men that have issues, real issues with strong outspoken. They really do.
They
They
do.
really do.
They really do.
Yes, they used to be
Insecurity.
real.
And if I could just try to get to this one, I just like to say that this screenshot that you're looking
yeah.
at here, that this is actually from a Jehovah's Witness that I was talking to. The one.
And we lost Spence again.
I just froze again.
Okay, do you all want me to do the test
Charles
screen?
Albert Hooker, that's a JW.
Oh no, here.
I thought I went down again.
You did, you froze.
I don't know what's going on. I feel like I have to rush and talk before they cut me off again. But yeah, he called Jehovah. This is a Jehovah's Witness, Mr. Charles. I'm saying your name, Hooker, or whatever your name is. Called us feminazis. This is like one of our earlier streams. And then I think the last clip, is this the last one?
Yeah.
Molly, this is this was also from comments from our other live streams.
Yeah. Okay. So these Danny's comment and that Christian, I won't even try to pronounce your name because you're just a disrespectful asshole, so I don't give a fuck. Anyway, so those guys were commenting on the video where we spoke about how our mental health have been affected by the pandemic that's going on. So this Danny guy is saying that we look like some kind of DC villains, pretty intimidating, hot and cool. And I just said, sorry, I don't want to be an ass, but would you be commenting on a man's looks in a video? We were discussing how we grew up in a doomsday cult, how this affects our mental health and just in general. And then this asshole said, ladies, try smiling.
Oh gosh, ladies, if you're not smiling, you're not a lady. I don't know. But men say this a lot. Smile.
But we were talking about Corona, a serious subject, so we're not going to sit there looking like fucking Cheshire cats with a big grin on our faces.
All right.
Yeah, and then he said, and then he said it was fun swimming in the estrogen ocean, and I said, well, if you don't like it, broader abroad. But remind me, would you mind an all-mind panel? Of course not. No one gives a shit when it's an all-male panel, and by the way, newsflash, I'm agender, so this is not an all-women panel. Just so you know. Bye. So, why? Why do you mind so bad that it's women? And why? What's causing you this much stress up here when you see women?
Swimming in the estrogen sea or estrogen or whatever he said, right?
That sounds badass.
Estrogen.
So I just like to say about the comments really quickly that it's not like we extra bothered by them. I mean, I'm not that bothered, but I think
we laugh at most of it.
You look at this.
I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting to see how some of those within our own community, ex-Jehovah's Witness community, view women being on a panel speaking.
Yep.
So it says more about you than it really does us. I mean, because like you said, we are not in the Watchtower anymore. We can be on lives and start any kind of panels we want to. We don't need permission from a man to speak. And I'm wearing a head covering today, but that's just because it matched with what I got on.
And if you notice, even in our community, people get called out. It's always the women doing it. There's been a few men, which we're grateful for, that has had our backs and spoke out with us, but it's normally mostly the women are the ones that say, no, this isn't right, and speak out against it.
It sure is. And even though men will jump in your inbox and say, oh, it's not wrong, it's wrong, I mean, you need to, blah, 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 or the infamous line of when there's wrongdoing in our community, oh, well, we're fighting the Watchtower. Basically they want you to shut up and be quiet again and fall in line. That's not going to happen.
No. I hate that.
Can I just end with something?
Yeah, sure.
Da-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Up yours.
Exactly. Amen. But it's what causes me like, and I'm not bothered. I'm just like confused. Is don't mix me up with yours, okay?
Yeah.
Like I am not. I could not give less shits about Watchtower, the governing body, the elders, anyone who tries to protect them. I give a fuck about like protecting the JW kids. I give a fuck about bettering mental health care and just care for ex-JWs to better their options to leave. I care to have them. I truly care, but I realize it's a futile fight to wake up as many JWs as we possibly can. But public awareness does just as much good, because once you start hearing it from many sources, you won't be able to ignore it. So the more public awareness, the more JWs you're gonna bring out, and you don't want them. And I keep saying this, and probably everyone who watches us regularly is fed up with me saying this, but hey, no, you don't want Watchtower to lose what we have now. We have eyes on them. We see them. We see what they are doing out in the open. But if you force them to go underground, the abuse they are doing, the repression of women that they are doing, all of this they are doing, is gonna get worse. Because the moment someone is underground, you don't have eyes on them. You don't want them to go underground.
So we have approached the end of our stream. We want to thank everybody for joining us, including our audience today. We had men and women in the comments today. We want to give a special thank you to Linda for jumping on with us and helping us.
It's been really enjoyable. Thank you, ladies. We enjoyed
we
it.
love talking to you. Please come back again.
Definitely, yeah.
And if you are looking at Emma's background, we are actually having a episode. That's our next. It's not our next episode. Our next episode, I'll have to look that up. We'll put it in the comments. But our next special episode, we'll just say our special, is the Watchtower.
You're freezing.
Because
she froze on a power.
Okay, she's
I told you it's almost time. Hi, Carrie. Thanks for joining us.
So we heard to Watchtower Victims Memorial Day, and then you froze.
Oh yeah. So we'll put the do you know the date?
August. It's when we come back off break, so I think it's in about three weeks. I think we're going to do a special on the Watchtower Victims Memorial Day and suicide related to JW.org.
Yeah.
So a lot of us in the community are experiencing shunning. This is the episode for you. A lot of us know someone, or we have experienced suicidal ideations because as a result of leaving the Watchtower. We're gonna also do a candlelit visual, I believe, for the victims. So you don't want to miss that. And did I miss anything before we go?
Did you know what
I was just going to
date that will
find the
be?
date. I'm just going to look it up now. I'm looking on the events.
What would you say, Linda?
So,
I just wanted to know, double check what the date was so I can put it in my calendar.
Carrie said that she totally missed most of this. Carrie, we're about to end the stream and you can hit replay. Also, Emma does a watch party where we kind of rewatch the live right every Monday.
So 23rd of August, honouring Watchtowers, shunned and suicide victims.
Okay, thank you.
So don't miss us next week. I just want to say that
if
was
anyone
our
wants
special
to
one.
come on and give their experience, how being shunned has made them feel suicide, if they've gone through suicide and you're still with us, we're so happy you're still with us.
Yes.
If you want to come and give us your experience about that, if you've had someone close to you that's committed suicide over JW.org issues, if you feel you can come and talk to us about that, then we'd be happy to have you on the show.
Great.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and sign off and say goodbye, guys.
And
Make sure you catch the replay if you missed us.
if you've done Watchtower Victims Memorial Day, if you want them featured, send us your photos and we'll put them on.
Yes, and stories.
That's nice.
Because some people like don't want to actually come on the live. We applaud you, Linda, because some people are uncomfortable with live. I know I was at first.
Yeah, no. I'm all out there now. I need to get more exposure on all of this. It's important. Yeah.
Okay, so we're saying bye for real this time, y'all.
Okay.
See you later.